play this domestic violence um video. So I want everybody to sit back and relax, and I hope y'all learn from this latest story that I'm about to play for y'all.
My name is Rosalind Atkinson. I am a survivor of an abusive marriage for 24 years. I met my husband when I was 13 years old. I absolutely loved him. Even though I was so young, I still saw some red flags that I looked over. And so we actually met in the ninth grade. But I saw anger issues with him. Even when we were teenagers, I remember him smacking me at the mall. And I also remember him smacking me in the elevator when I was in medical and dental assistant school. And it wasn't until we got married where I guess he felt like he solidified the deal, that it was done. And literally 5 days after we got married, I remember how terrible it was. We were putting our apartment together. I was so happy and excited. I was 24 years old. I left my mom's house, my first apartment with my new husband. And I remember we had decided that I would put everything together in the back of the house. He would put everything together in the front of the apartment. So I remember when I was done hanging clothes and I went in the kitchen and it was all this stuff on the kitchen. He made a sandwich and he had left it all. And it was like 90 degrees outside. I said, it's hot outside. I said, you left the uh, Miracle Whip and the cheese and everything on the counter. I said, you need to clean that up. And he looked at me and he said, I'll get it. And so when I went back and was continuing doing what I was doing, about an hour later I came and it was still sitting there. And so I began to clean it up. And I'm telling you, that was the worst thing I could have did because I cleaned up his messes from that day forward. And then when it was time for us to bring some other things in, some boxes off of the truck and all of that, he would not help. He said he was done. He would not help me at all. And so I was out there literally myself, dragging boxes, dragging bins, bringing things in because again, we are newly married 5 days in. And I remember saying to myself, who in the hell is this? Because I didn't know that person. It was like he was waiting till we got married. We were together for, like I said, I met him at 13. We were together for 11 years, and I was still a virgin. We got married. We got along very well initially, and it was after we got married that everything took a turn for the worse. I started doing everything. He started speaking to me in a very aggressive and mean manner. I was pregnant 4 times. My second son, I will never forget this. I carried him for 6 months and I delivered a, it was very hard for me. And I remember it was maybe 5 to 7 days after, not long after this had occurred. And I was in the closet trying to find me something to wear because I don't have a baby, but I'm still. I remember sitting on the floor in the closet, going through my jeans. He came in the back in the bedroom and he said, "What's taking you so long?" And I have tears coming down my face. And I said, "I can't find anything to wear." He said, "Hurry up and find something because it's time to go." And I remember burying my face in all of those clothes, just screaming, like, how could you? Why would you not comfort me? I lost your son. It wasn't just my son. You're the daddy. I went through that literally by myself. My first pregnancy, I was so ecstatic. I was pregnant for the very first time. And my ex was there, but he was not kind to me. He was not there emotionally for me and his child. And so I really didn't want to have any more children. And so my second son actually was not a planned child. It just kind of happened because I really wasn't having any more kids back. My second pregnancy, once I found out I was pregnant, so I'm loving my baby. I am nurturing this baby. I'm doing everything that I can possibly do to protect. And unfortunately, I was pregnant for about 5 months and I started bleeding. And I remember them putting me on bed rest. And I just did not have his support at that time. Thank God my mom was still alive, so she would help me. But it was I was on my own. I had two more children. I actually planned my next son because once my oldest son had got older, he was a really needy child. So I was like, okay, this kid need a playmate. So I had my second son. My ex-husband, he just was who he was, and I learned to cope with it. I learned to deal. And I say this all the time. I say this on a regular basis. I learned, and unfortunately, so many abused women learn this. We learn to function in dysfunction. And that was me. I built walls.
Hello.
I tried to protect my boys from seeing any of this. I was with my ex from 13 years old, and it wasn't
Hey,
until we got
y'all.
married at the age of 24 that I saw the abuse. He was emotionally abusive. We would make plans, or I should say, I would make plans to do something, and I'm all excited. And then the day of, he would say, "No, I'm not going," and just be mean about it. Or he will start an argument so that he wouldn't have to go. And then we're not talking for the next 10, 12, 13 days. He absolutely put his hands on me. I was not beaten every day, none of that. But I would be lying if I tell you that he's never hit me. We're leaving out of my son's eighth grade basketball game. And so my son had gotten upset because the coach was taking him out of the game. And he thought it was unfair. My ex-husband played basketball as well. And so he was telling him, you have to do what the coach says, and blah, 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 blah. And so I say to my ex-husband,
Get off my
I said,
live
he's
being
not
negative.
hearing you, what
Bye.
you say. I said, wait until he calms down and then have a conversation. Why did I say that? And so we begin to argue. When we get the boys in the car, I'm getting ready to get in the car because I was driving. I didn't want to get in the car. And he comes, I see him from the left towards me, towards me. So I start running. And so this is like
Love you. Good
maybe
night.
5, 10 feet go outside and everything. And I knew he couldn't catch me. So I started running around the car. And he couldn't catch me. And he saw that he couldn't catch me. He was out of breath and all of that. And so we both started laughing. So I'm thinking that is over because we were outside of the car and we both started laughing. And as I opened the car door to get in, he came around me and he smacked the stuffy out of me.
For everybody that's watching, I am watching a domestic violence story. So, reason why I'm playing this video is bring awareness if anybody is in a domestic violence situation. So that's why I want y'all to listen to this lady's story.
And said, I bet not say a word. When I got in the car, all he did was scream and holler and fuss at me while I'm driving silently. He kept saying to me, and my boys are in the back car, and he says to me, if you say something, I'm going to bust you in the face. And all I could think to myself was, if I say, even if I breathe hard and it hits me, I'm going to crash. My children's safety is in my hands. So I couldn't say a word. So when we get home, pull in the driveway, got out of the car, he slammed my car door so hard, I thought the window had broken. I put the car in reverse because we had another basketball game to go to for my oldest son. I put the car in reverse, and as I'm driving to the game, I tell my sons, two youngest ones, I said, never treat a woman like that. You never ever put your hands. So I started trying to fix it. I went in a fix mode so that they would not become who he was. This when it was really bad. It was towards the end of our relationship. He had gotten up to go to work it's a hall. And so I hear him pull the door shut. He thinks I'm asleep. So I hear him pull it back. And he comes over to the side of the bed and he said these words, "You go give me some, and you'll give me some now. And if you scream, I'm going to choke you out." And so I screamed because we getting ready to see. I screamed as loud as I could, so that scared him. He jumped up and he unlocks the door because we kept the key in there, and he slides the door back and tells him to get away from the door. And while he is, and everybody, "What's going on? What's going on?" And while he's telling me to get away from the door, I literally, in my night shirt, I ran out of my front door and ran down the street. Hid behind my neighbor's bushes. I was there about 10 minutes or so because my baby boy called the police. And I am hiding about 8 houses down, running down the street, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, no shoes on, nothing but a night shirt. I'm hiding from somebody that's trying to rape me. So the police comes, and when I see the police pull up, I go down there. They ask could they come to my house, and they ask could they look around, and his car was still in the garage, and they looked everywhere for him, and we could not find. We all were looking for him, and we could not find him in the house. And so my sons and I grabbed some things, and we left, and we went to my sister's house. That's it. That was a temporary leave. That was not the final leave. You was off, and that would have been the end. I was terrified to be on my own. I wasn't afraid to be alone because I was very much alone in the marriage. I was afraid to be on my own because I had never been on my own before. And my ex-husband, he was the primary breadwinner. So it was like I need his money in order to take care of my children. And so I was just petrified at the thought of being out there on my own with little to no resources. I was diagnosed in 2009 with thyroid cancer. And for me, whatever reason, I just thought that I had never been under the knife at all. So I was petrified. And so I told him that. And I knew the kind of man it was. And so I said to him, "You're taking a biopsy." It's Friday. I said, "So when every day up until Wednesday, because I need to get myself together in order to go into the hospital to have this biopsy, right?" And so he agreed. Because then I know sleep. And I very rarely to this day sleep on my back, but I happen to be sleeping on my back. And I felt something poking me in my neck. What is this? I said to myself, what is this poking me in my neck? And when I opened my eyes, it was a knife. He had a knife poking me in my neck. And he told me that I was going to give him some. And if I screamed, he was going to slit my throat. Because my son's bedroom were upstairs. And it was a split night. So they were fast asleep. And so I did not scream. And he raped me. And that was the first time that he raped me. How could I have ever loved this person? What attracted me to this type of abuse? And what I've discovered is I didn't know of any, if my father did any of those types of things to my mother. But what I do know is that I chose the same type of man that raised me. Now, let me be clear. I loved my father. My father loved me. My father loved his daughters. He was wonderful to us. My ex-husband was good to his boys. My father was not good to my mother. Neither was my ex-husband good to me. I was 48 when I finally left. It was a series of events that had occurred. The atmosphere was always explosive. You didn't ever know when he was just go flip. My best friend passed away on his birthday, actually. And we were at the movies. I took him to the movies for his birthday. And I get a call from my best friend's son, and he told me that his mom had died. And we raced to the hospital. And sure enough, she had My ex-husband never consulted me, never hugged me, never embraced me, never said that he was sorry. And me and this woman have been best friends since I was 18 years old. And I remember being at her homegoing service, and we were sitting there, and she was a poet, and it was what was in her poem that did it for me. So in her poem, she said she had a family, but she had an unhappy home. I heard a poem, a line in a poem that my best friend wrote, and it was those words that inspired me to leave. It empowered me, and it made me see that I had to be done with this relationship. After that, I asked him for a divorce. He told me that I didn't want one. I told him yes, I did, that I was done. He cried, he begged, he pleaded. He said he was going to do what was right, he was going to be better, and all of that. And I had heard all of this so many times before, and it did not matter. I didn't care if he had $1 billion. I didn't care if he could lavish me with the best of the best. I was done, and it escalated. I told him that I wasn't going to leave until after middle son graduated high school, which was literally about 6 months away or less. And I just didn't want to disturb his 12th grade year with all of that. One day I came home from work, and I came in the house, and I immediately noticed that my two younger sons,
Hmm.
were not there. My oldest son is in college. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember being in our bedroom, and I am looking for a sweater. And the next thing that I hear is the emergency room doctor saying to me, "Do you know where you are?" And I replied, "I'm at home," because that was my last memory. My ex husband had choked me and left me for dead on our bedroom floor. He called 911, and he said, "My wife is dying on our bedroom floor." I was taken to the hospital. They tell me that I had a CAT scan, I had an MRI, all of that. And they had to give me a shot of adrenaline to wake me up out of this. My personal doctor, who I saw the next day, and the police officer, when I had to go and file the report and all of that, said to me, had he kept his hands around your neck 10 seconds longer, we would not be talking to you. Because when I went to the police station, they put an ultraviolet rays on my neck, and you could see all 10 of his fingers around my neck. He fled. He is gone for 5 days, I believe. He comes back and he turns himself in. And he posted bond. He posted $500 and got right out after trying to kill me. Aggravated assault, in my opinion, attempted murder. When I was 48 years old, I finally had the the courage to leave. So after he strangled me, I had a no contact order, a restraining order placed on him. But that didn't stop him. He still called my cell phone. He began to stalk me. It was just, I was always on high alert. When he should have been at work, he was watching what I was doing, calling my phone and telling me what I was doing. And we lived on the main street. So I was like, how in the world is this man seeing what I am doing? He never stopped trying to get at me. And so finally, it was February the 3rd. I had an event. It was my middle son's last official at home basketball game. So I went there and walked him in and all of that. And before I went, my ex had called me. He asked me, was I going? Because he wanted to see if he could go. And I told him, I said, yeah, I'm going. He said, well, I'm not going. About 15 minutes after the ceremony, I'm sitting in the bleachers and I see him coming. But it was so crowded, I didn't see where he went. So it was time for me to leave. And so I'm leaving out of there. And I have the cart from the hotel. And I'm pushing the little cart going on across the parking lot. And I decided to put my things in my back seat. And when I went to get the second thing, I see these lights from this car come on. I am saying to myself, why are you turning around in the air? Because he hit me with the car. Went up in the air, turned around in the air, came down, I hit the windshield. I hit the front of the car, I rolled away from the car, hit the back of my head, I hit the front of my chin. And when I started coming back, I said to myself, this is my ex-husband. I knew it was him. So I said to myself, play dead, lay perfectly still. I heard him walk to me. He started pulling me down from the waist. Pulled me the first time, I still laid there. Pulled me the second time, and he says, your ass is not dead. And that third pull, I started screaming and kicking and hollering, please, 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 somebody help me, somebody help me. There is a steel fence that is mounted to the ground. I went under the fence. I looked behind me and he couldn't get under the fence. He jumps back in the car and puts it in drive and puts his foot to the pedal, trying to ram the fence. But his wheels got stuck in the dirt and I went down a hill and it's the highway. And I go over the guardrail because in my mind he has gotten out of this, is coming around to hit me with this car. He never showed, but I'm running and trying to flag down trucks and cars, and everybody kept going. But they were calling 911, and finally a man stopped. He was like, what's going on? And I jumped in his car. I jumped in the man's car so fast. I scared him. I said, my ex-husband is trying to kill me. Come on, we gotta go. We gotta go. And he was like, no, 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 no. We're just gonna wait. I'm gonna call the police. I'm like, no, 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 no. We have to go because he's coming. He's coming. Finally, the police came. The ambulance came. All of that. And my only concern was for the police to get to my children. I'm giving them my address. They took me to the hospital. They had a police officer outside of my door, and they found him about 2 hours, 3 hours later. They found him walking in the opposite direction on the turnpike intoxicated. They arrested him, and he went to jail, and he plea bargained down to, I believe it was aggravated assault. And so he had 9 years for that. I go to my son's basketball game and I leave there and I had no idea that my ex had followed me. And the next thing I know, I am being hit with a car, 3,000 pounds. I don't, initially, they didn't believe that I crawled over the fence, but my finger was slit by the barbed wire under the fence. And I had 16 stitches put in the finger. I also had a meniscus tear on my knee and bruises. My body was bruised very, very bad. And I hit the windshield of the car, and thank be to God that the only nick that I had was on my nose, and it looked just like I had busted a pimple, and the glass of the car was shattered. My face should have been cut up, and it was nothing but the grace of God. Oh, when he was finally locked up, I felt free. I felt free of him. I felt like I didn't have to look over my shoulders. So it was very free and it was very liberating. Well, now, since all of that is gone, I am 59 next year. I will be 60 years old. I am happy. I am remarried. I have the best husband in the world. My three sons are doing fine. I am the Gigi of four great granddaughters. They are my heartbeat. I am an author. I penned my story, my true story, in the book entitled The Unloved Wife. If you're dealing with domestic violence on any level, you have to come to the conclusion that you cannot change that person. It's nothing that you can do that will change them from hurting you. I'm not saying leave today, but begin to put a plan in place so you can leave. And please understand this. We cannot cover enough for our children. They will be affected by it and affected by it. After you get out, don't be afraid to go to therapy so you can get a better perspective on you so that in the future you will not choose the same individual that you chose before that abused you and hurt you.
Wow. I hope y'all learned something from this AD domestic violence story. Alright, y'all. Thank y'all for watching.